pours love into the family. He pours love into the home, so his love can overflow into the world. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life removing pain. Lord, let my words heal a heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people, so his love can overflow into the world.
God bless you and welcome back to Three Angels Broadcasting Network. And as always, we are so blessed and thankful that you joined us for another program. Here's something for you tennis players. Someone once said that life is like a game of tennis. He who serves well seldom loses. And I have to say that our very special guest today is one who serves well. And she serves well in an area of something that we have to have each and every day, and that area is food. I'm very thankful that we have Barbara Kerr with us today. She's with Taste of Health Ministries, and she's here all the way from Gaston, South Carolina. And she has got some brand new recipes hot off the press to share with us today. So right off the top of this program, I'd like to invite you to get your paper, get your pen to jot down the recipes. And if you're unable to jot down the recipes, just give us a call here at 1-800-752-3226, and we will be more than happy to mail you these recipes. Here's what's on the menu today. We've got Middle Eastern red lentil soup, black beans and barley, minute meat chick patties, muckets. Muckets must be one of those gourmet words, but I promise you it'll be good. Also Russian steak, baked potatoes, simple soybeans, and I'm getting hungry just looking at the menu. But please stay with us. We'll be going to the kitchen in just a few minutes. Well, I have a little story that I'd like to share with you today. It's a true story that literally shook the world of science a long time ago, and it still shakes it today. On September 13th, in the year 1848, a man named Phineas Gage started his day as he always did. He got up early to get to work on time. Phineas was a well-respected railroad construction foreman who was 25 years old, and on that day a long time ago, he was working on laying some railroad track through a mountainous region. And in order for him to do this, he had to drill a long hole into the rock of the mountain and fill it with explosive powder and then light a fuse which would make a big explosion to cut into the side of the mountain. Well, unfortunately, while Phineas was pressing the powder into the long hole, the rod that he was using to press the powder into the hole generated a spark, which made a big explosion. And the 13-pound tamping iron, which was about 1 inch thick and 3 feet long, went into his body, under his cheekbone, behind his eye, through his brain, and then exited out the back of his head. I tell you, it hurts even just talking about it. But miraculously, Phineas did survive and almost completely recovered physically. But the big problem was the fact that Phineas was no longer Phineas, because his entire personality was completely different after the accident. Before the accident, Phineas was a well-loved, a well-respected, he was a good worker. He went to church on a regular basis, and he was a man of good moral behavior. But after the accident, Phineas went from the company's most prized foreman to someone who was irresponsible. He was prone to a lot of profane language. He had a bad temper. He was no longer interested in spiritual things, so he quit going to church. He ended up leaving his wife and joining a traveling circus, and very sadly, he died 13 years later. But after he died, there was a Dr. Harlow who asked the family for his skull so that the scientists could further study into what happened to his brain. And they discovered that both the right and the left regions of his frontal lobe were terribly damaged. And later they concluded that the frontal lobe is responsible for our social and our moral behavior. And this was really a scientific breakthrough in that day. And since that time, other cases have made scientists draw the same conclusion. In the year 1994, one of the world's most acclaimed science journals did a cover story on the story of Phineas, where well-known scientists again stated that the frontal lobe of our brain is responsible for our social and our moral behavior. In other words, it's the control center of our whole bodies. And listen to this, because of the big moral decline in this country, studies have been done about lifestyle factors that can damage and affect the frontal lobe of the brain, which would then affect the behavior. And in a nutshell, scientists are saying that the front part of the brain activity can either be enhanced and complemented by what we eat, or it can be compromised or damaged by what we put into our bodies. And you would be surprised at how many simple over-the-counter medications and also the preservatives and food additives and the things that we buy in the grocery store that have been proven to affect the mind. And if they affect the mind, they affect how we think, they affect what we say, they affect what we do. And it's no wonder that God says in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, "Keep your heart," or keep your mind with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. You know, God communicates to us through our minds. He prompts us to do things for Him through our minds, and He really impresses His character in us and through us through the sensitivity of our minds. So we need to cherish them. We need to take care of them. And to be really, really, really honest here, it's not always easy to say no to things that you've been raised on, all those favorite dishes and those cherished recipes that have been handed generation to generation that are wonderful to the taste buds, but terrible for the body. But God says we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So we just really need to pray and we need to strive to make better choices. Not necessarily just because we want to live to be 100, but because our God is worthy of a pure and a fit vessel to serve Him. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, in Jesus' name, we are so thankful for the gift of life that you have given us. We're so thankful for the breath that you have put within these bodies. And we realize, Lord, that it is a cherished, cherished possession. I pray that you will forgive us, Lord, where we've really not been careful with our bodies. And I pray, Lord, that you will plant deep within us the desire to turn away from things that will be harmful to our bodies, but Lord, to embrace the natural things that you created for us to put in our bodies so that we could live life and live life more abundantly the way you want us to. Lord, I just pray that you will help us as we go forward on this march. We realize, Lord, that time is short, that your coming is very soon. And I pray, Lord, that we can be your soldiers that are in the front lines. And we realize that in order to be those soldiers, Lord, we need to be fit vessels for you. So I pray that you will help us in our choices, that we can be our best for you. In Jesus' name we pray. You know, the Bible says that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. He manifests himself to us when he shows us the way, when he shows us new truths, and when he gives us life as we're learning and as we're growing. And through choosing to walk in his ways, he gives us healing, not just physically, but on the inside where the wounds don't show. And at this time, I'd like to invite you to listen to a song about the gentle healer that is sung by the group Message of Mercy. So let's listen at this time.
The gentle healer came into our town today. He touched blind eyes and the darkness left to stay. But more than the blindness, he took their sins away. The gentle healer came into our town today. The gentle healer came into our town today. He spoke one word, that was all he had to say. And the one who had died just rose up straight away. The gentle healer came into our town today. Oh, he seems like just an ordinary man, with dirty feet and rough but gentle hands. But the words he says are hard to understand, and yet he seems like just an ordinary man. The gentle healer, he left our town today. I just looked around and found he'd gone away. Some folks from town who followed him, they say that the gentle healer is the truth, the life, the way.
Welcome back to the 3ABN Kitchen, where you find the most wonderful veggie cooks in all the world. And here's one of them right here.
Thank you, Linda.
Welcome back.
It's nice to be back.
It's good to have you back.
Oh, you know, I have been so busy since I saw you last. I went on a book signing tour out into the Pacific Northwest, and I'll tell you, it seems like my life just flies faster and faster all the time.
Well, ever since you came out with that cookbook, I tell you, you have been very busy.
Well, you know, we went to 6 different cities in 8 days, and I went out to Washington State. We were in Seattle and Yakima, Walla Walla, and Moses Lake, and Spokane and Portland was where we went. And it went by so fast, and it was so busy, but really the book was a huge success. There were a lot of write-ups in the paper that I was very happy about, and it's going, so.
Oh, right.
And I went to Doug Batchelor's church and did a cooking school there, and I'll tell you, he and his wife both look so much younger to me in person than on camera. That was so funny, but they are such lovely people, and their church is wonderful. So it's just been busy, busy, busy.
Oh, I'll say.
But,
well, the program that we're going to do today is probably much different than the ones that we've done previously. Tell us what we're doing.
That's right. You know, I get a lot of requests from you viewers that want more everyday food. Just show me what you eat and tell me about, you know, simple things. Some of them are a little more involved than others, but I had to really sit down and think, Linda, about what is it that I eat for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner at home? What do I make for Bill and Nathan? And I tried to put all that together in a program. So we're going to go really fast today through the food because I have a lot of things that I want to show. But I think that you're going to be happy with what we come up with.
All right, well, let's get started.
For breakfast ideas, what I eat for breakfast may be different than a lot of people, but actually my favorite breakfast I'm going to show you is actually a bowl of grape nuts with a few things on it that most people probably don't put on. So I wanted to show you this, and while I'm getting this ready, tell us what you have for breakfast. Are you a breakfast person?
Yes, well, I do eat breakfast, and I tell you, I eat probably something different every day.
Do you?
But I have to say,
that's good.
Something that I feel like is very health beneficial that I do is every week, 2 days out of the week, what I will do is fast.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
all day or just for breakfast?
No, all day long.
Oh my goodness.
And I'll do my carrot juice like I usually do, but when I eat, it will either be like a piece of fruit or it will be, and don't laugh, but I really like baby food.
Are you
And if
serious?
if you're a label reader, you will find that
There's no salt.
There's no salt.
And
There's no sugar. I mean, they put the best ingredients in baby food. So I mean, you can get those apples and plums, and
You are so sweet.
and plus they're low calorie. If you're wanting to drop a couple pounds, like I like to do once in a while, it's very good. So
Wow,
2 days a week. That's my
That's
direction.
definitely something I didn't know about you before. That's sweet.
Well, I have to advertise
Now-
the baby food a little bit more because I also use it for toppings on pancakes and waffles and things like that. And that is an inexpensive but
It's already whipped
delicious, good for you topping. So
That's great. That's a good tip. I didn't know. I would not have thought, and I would have thought something was funny if I'd have seen baby food in your pantry. So,
well, in fact, when I go through the grocery line, they'll say, "Well, how old is your baby?" I'll say, "It's for me."
they look at you strange.
Yes.
That's so funny. Well, I like to just put a little bit of organic sucanat. This is a dehydrated sugarcane juice. And then I top it with a kiwi. And one other thing that I've added to my cereal is a flaxseed meal, which we'll be using in patties. And this is ground flax seeds, and it's very important for especially vegetarians that don't consume any dairy products, which are really, I feel, dangerous to be eating nowadays. You need your omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids, and flax seeds contain all of that. So I put, and this does not change the taste much at all. It gives it a nutty flavor. So I put a good heaping spoon of that.
And
a
our
few
viewers
walnuts.
could get those things at a local health food store.
Yes. And then a banana. And then I'll let you pour on the milk. This is a silk milk. I am crazy about this soy milk. It is so good tasting. And then this is just...
Now that looks like a great, oops, I'm messy
She's making a
here.
mess. So at least 2 days a week, this is what I have for breakfast. So people that want to know what I eat, this is my favorite. But you know, there are other things that you can eat for breakfast that are simple and healthy. One that I feed Nathan all of the time, well, probably 2 days a week, he gets a whole wheat toast with applesauce and all natural peanut butter. And we've got some here, then you can just go ahead and just spread that on. And it's very simple if you just buy a whole grain, whole wheat toast. I'll clean up while
And
you
actually,
do that.
this is a different
all
kind
natural peanut butter.
What's different about this peanut butter as opposed to other brands?
Well, when you need to look at the ingredients, and it should just read peanuts and salt. If it says anything else, you really need to, like hydrogenated oils and sugar and stuff like that. You need to stay away from that. So. And this is actually what I get out of the cupboard too. It's the Mott's Natural Applesauce. It's unsweetened, and I buy this to send in lunches with Nathan. And he gets, you know, one of these is perfect for half and half.
Some people put banana on there.
You can put banana, sprinkle granola on it. And this is a filling breakfast. And he always has something fresh. He has to have a piece of fruit or a fresh vegetable at every meal. So that's the mommy-daddy rule. So that works out
That looks good.
But some other things that people can eat that are healthy, cream of wheat, malto-meal, shredded wheat, those kinds of cereals, as long as you put something fresh on there. Always have something fresh at every meal. if it's at all possible. So those are all good breakfast ideas. Oh, homemade waffles. If you have time, like on a Sunday morning, you can make up waffles. Do them all. Make up the whole big batch. It'll take you about 2 hours. Just look for a recipe. I don't have one right now, but not one that I've got published anyways. You can make them all, put layers of parchment paper, wax paper in between them and stick them in the freezer. Then during the week when you're busy, just pull one out and stick it in the toaster. This is also something that I found at the health food store. This is Van's wheat-free blueberry waffles. And I'll tell you, these taste really good, and you can just keep them in the freezer if you're in a hurry and pull them out. So those are all some things
So
that you can...
no bad ingredients in there.
No bad ingredients. Now, for lunch is a little different story. Let's push this out to the side. We'll just sort of. Lunch, we have different things. Now, I want to tell you, I want to show you my husband's lunch. And I'm not kidding you. This is what he eats for lunch.
Wow.
And just about that amount, too. Usually there's an apple added to that. And I have to tell you, Linda, things have changed at my house since August. I'll tell you, Bill, I was really praying desperately that God would help me change my husband. My prayer was, please change me, Lord, or change him, but I prefer that you change him. Isn't that terrible? But I was just, Bill and I were eating very different, and he's eats a lot of meat and a lot of dairy and drank sweetened tea. I'm confessing, I don't know that, we won't show this one to Bill. Coke and Pepsi and just, how they come in the great big containers. And I'll tell you, my husband was very overweight and living a very unhealthy lifestyle, feeling invincible. But several months ago, he had a spiking high blood pressure during the night that went up to the high 180s over the high 140s or 50s, and he burst a blood vessel in his eye, and it scared him so bad that overnight he changed his diet from one of that way
Junk
to
food.
simple. He became a vegetarian overnight. He started eating 80% raw and 20% cooked food. Nuts and seeds and grains. He only drinks distilled water now. There's no more pop. I don't find any containers in the car and things like that. And I'll tell you what, there have been some major transformations that my husband has gone through. This is a picture of him from 2 years ago. He's over 300 pounds. I don't know exactly what. Bill's 6'5", so he can carry a lot of weight. This is a little closer up shot of him. And now, this next picture I want to show you is after he has actually been eating this way for about 3 months. And this is at Thanksgiving time, and he's dropped probably 65 pounds there. And then this last picture, which was the most current one that I had, where you can't really see a lot, but you can kind of tell he's slimmed down. He's lost close to 90 pounds there, and right now he's about 95 pound loss.
How does he feel?
He feels awesome. I mean, what happened to him, the transformation that has happened in Bill has inspired so many people just in our local church. People are asking Bill, how are you doing this? He's healthy, but more importantly, what goes along with your worship this morning is that he is happier. His personality is different. He's more mellow. He's nicer to get along with. He's not as confrontational. Not that, you know how it is when you're married. You have those little confrontations, but Bill is just a type A personality that's mellowing, and I just really see these changes that have taken place. And
so basically, with the Phineas story, you have seen
it
from
firsthand.
experience that
Yes.
a change in diet affects how you act.
And he hasn't eaten a single bite of sugar in the whole time that he's been doing this. I mean, just went cold turkey. I mean, he's doing better than I am. I mean, he passed me up, and because I wasn't eating as much raw. But his lunch, he just eats fruit for lunch and nuts and seeds. And he eats a huge amount, and he has barley green in the morning and barley green in the afternoon. And then for dinner, we're going, we start with a salad first, which I'm going to show you our simple salad that Bill always makes. And then we have some cooked food with that. So we try to eat now, and I'm changing this too, although I haven't lost the weight that Bill has because I'm not quite as good about keeping it exactly right as he is. I have dropped 15 pounds, so I think I'm doing pretty good.
That's very
but
good.
It's so exciting to see that, and I think the story about how you can change your brain and how it shows that if you're eating that way, you really can make a difference in other people's lives, because Bill now is making a difference. I mean, he's like on fire for the health message, and we're like more united at home in what we're eating, and it's just exciting.
Well, tell me, how this affected your son?
Oh, well, you know, we had raised Nathan as a meat eater, and so when Bill made the change, I've never pressured Nathan to give up meat. So at home, I only cook vegetarian, but when we go out, I let him order what he wants. And so finally, after Bill had been doing this about 2 months, he said to us one night at a restaurant, he said, "Mommy, I think tomorrow I'm going to become a vegetarian." And I was so proud of him and so amazed, and I wondered, you know, would he really do that? And the next time we went out with someone and all the other kids were ordering chicken nuggets and hamburgers, Nathan said, "I will have a Caesar salad." And he really did. He said, "I'm a vegetarian," and he told the kids that, and he has stuck to it, you know, from that day. And I just think that seeing your parents united gave him a reason to be excited about that. So I'm just, you know, and Bill's so cute. He's become my little cutie at home.
You know, that is such a testimony, because that once again proves, you know, how much your children are watching you. They are really keeping an eye on your lifestyle and what you're doing, because inadvertently they're going to walk in your footsteps.
That's right. And when you're 11 years old, as Nathan is, you cannot beat your kids or your husband over the head with your health message or your diet changes that you're convicted of. You have to let them make the decision on their own.
That's
so
right.
I don't
That's
think
true.
that we would have had the same results if we'd have forced them. So
That's awesome.
that's what
tell
he
ya.
eats for lunch. Some other things that you can just pull these out. Can you pull that tray out there, Linda?
This one?
Yeah, no, this one right here.
Okay.
We just have some other things that you might want to eat for lunch. I've just gotten some things that are quick and easy. These are box mixes that you can show. Go ahead and you can just...
Okay, we've got the Morningstar Grillers, Veteran Burgers, and corn dogs. And these are things you can find at a lot of the bigger chain food stores now.
You can find them just about anywhere. And this is a whole grain bun. And I'm just going to, while you're showing those, I'm going to make this up and show people, whoops, I actually got food on me today. I think that's the first time.
We can be dangerous here in the kitchen. Okay, and this is the Fantastic Food brand of the vegetarian chili. And we've got the original hummus. And we have the, boy, you know, I've never seen this before, but this is the French herb quinoa blend. And then here we have the roasted garlic and red peppers couscous. You know, I've not tried these before.
Well, actually, I think that one's pronounced couscous. And that comes in a whole wheat version and a regular, I'm not sure which one.
You know, I will never forget that again, couscous.
Well, that's a couscous. It's just like a small semolina pasta that's in little tiny balls and cooks up. But you know, people just, you don't always know what's available. Grillers are one of my family's favorites. My personal favorite are Boca burgers. You can just stick them in the toaster and you've got a sandwich that's ready in a few minutes. And this is literally, you know, this is what I eat for lunch from time to time. And we don't have prepackaged food all the time, but in this busy society, you have got to have a few of these things in your, you know,
Sure.
cupboard.
For those times when you've got 10 or 15 minutes for lunch.
That's right. Okay, now I think we're ready to go on to the things that we're actually going to cook. And the first thing that we're going to prepare for you is a Middle Eastern red lentil soup. And we'll read those ingredients for you now. You will need 1 tablespoon olive oil, 2½ cups onion chopped, 2 medium garlic cloves minced, 1 tablespoon ground cumin, 1 1/2 cups red lentils rinsed, 1/3 cup bulgur wheat, 7 cups of water, 2 tablespoons Bill's Best chickenish seasoning, 2 cups tomatoes chopped small, or you can use 1/3 cup sun-dried tomatoes, 1 cinnamon stick, 1 bay leaf, 1 teaspoon salt or to taste, 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and 1/4 cup chopped fresh mint as your garnish.
This sounds like a winner.
Oh, this is a good recipe. And you know, the neat thing about red lentils is even though there's a lot of ingredients here, you can just, it takes about 20 minutes to put everything in the pan. As a matter of fact, we're going to start with our, get our oil hot, but it only takes 30 minutes or less to cook. So this is one that if you're in a hurry, you can get this meal out. So that was 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and we're going to saute 2½ cups of onions. And we just want to get these to where they're soft. And you can, and instead of garlic, now here was a shortcut. I used dried minced garlic. So, and that's something if you can get a container of it. I have a big one from like Sam's Club or Costco, and you can just use that in its place. But you use about half as much of a dried one. So, but you just saute your onions till they're soft, which we're not going to take the time to do that today. And then you're going to go ahead and add all the rest of the ingredients. Put in your 1 tablespoon cumin. Let's see if you can. That's the seasoning. We'll see how well Linda knows her seasonings now. 1½ cup red lentils.
That's an easy one.
Yeah. And you want to rinse these.
And I've heard from others who have been on 3ABN that lentils is actually something we should eat like every week because it's like a perfect protein.
Yes, and with the bulgur wheat that we have in here, we are making a complete protein. Okay, go ahead and put our bulgur wheat, which is just a cracked wheat. That's 1/3 cup, 7 cups of water, and I use distilled water in my soups.
Boy, I'm making a mess today, huh?
I was just going to say, if you pour that too fast, it'll go out the back, but it was too late. That's okay. 2 tablespoons Bill's Best Chickenish, and this is just a chicken type of replacement seasoning that has all vegetable.
And the good thing about Barbara's cookbook is in the back of the cookbook, she gives all the addresses of places where you can get these products.
Right. This is a Nutri-Line food product, and they have wonderful things. 2 cups of tomatoes diced. And we need 1 cinnamon stick, which gives it that Middle Eastern flavor, and a bay leaf. You got it. And 1 teaspoon of salt or to taste. And our 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper.
You always like that little zip in there.
It sort of needs something. So what we're going to do now, we're going to wait on this one. This is our mint. Now after this cooks down, and we're going to just let this simmer while we go on to other recipes, and we'll show it to you at the end of the program. But we're going to dish it up in a bowl, and then you can just put a little bit of chopped fresh mint on top, and oh, it's really yummy. So that's our first recipe. Now the next thing we're going to share with you are black beans and barley. And this makes up a soup too. Linda, would you read these ingredients?
Yes, you will need 1½ cups of black beans, 1/2 cup of brown lentils, 1/2 cup of barley, brown rice, or bulgur wheat, 6 cups of distilled water, 1 teaspoon dried minced garlic or 1½ teaspoon of fresh garlic, 1/4 cup dried minced onion or 1/2 cup of fresh onion, 3/4 of a teaspoon ground cumin, 1 1/2 teaspoon salt or to taste.
Very good. Now this one's another quick one, Linda, and we're going to start with our black beans. Now you can soak these overnight in water and then discard the water and then put the beans into your into the water that we have. Now I found that only cuts down the cooking time by 45 minutes to an hour. If I'm going to cook it 2 hours, I might as well cook it 3 hours because I'm going to put it on in the morning so it's ready for dinner. So, but it does, by soaking it, they say, take away some of the gassy effects of bean. I haven't been soaking my beans long enough to be able to tell you from experience whether that's true around my house or not. Do you know?
Or you can go to the health food store and pick up some Beano.
That's right.
You know, I've never had that problem with beans.
I don't have that problem with beans. So. You know, but there are people that really suffer out there. So that's 1½ cup of black beans, and that is our lentils, right? Brown lentils, 1/2 cup. You're just going to put this all into a pot. 1/2 cup of barley, brown rice, or bulgur wheat, whatever you've got in your cupboard. But I love barley. This is 6 cups of distilled water that we have again. If you use tap water that is not really pure, it will take longer to cook your beans because you have stuff in your water competing to get through the outer coating of the bean. So if you use distilled water, you will cook in less time, especially lentils and brown rice and things like that. So
I've learned something today.
Okay, let's put in our 1 teaspoon of dried minced garlic.
Garlic,
Yep,
okay.
you got it. And 1/4 cup dried minced onion. This is another thing I like at the store. You can get for 99 cents, you know, this little. A 3/4 teaspoon of ground cumin. I like cumin as a seasoning, but you know, you can really flavor this with whatever you want. And 1½ teaspoons of salt. You just want to bring this to a boil and start it by, you know, if you can put this on maybe in the evening, have it for the next day, whatever you want to do. This is one that you've got to think ahead on, or you can't put this on right at dinner time. So that's our black bean soup.
Hey, did you know that beans are heart healthy?
They are.
Yes, they are.
And they're high in fiber, so that's good for you. And with the lentils in here, again, you have a complete protein.
Yes, they actually say for heart patients that they should eat beans daily because it takes the bad cholesterol. It literally cleans out your arteries.
Right, and anything that's high in fiber, when you eat a fresh apple with the peel, or you eat raw veggies for dinner, for lunch, or for breakfast, that fiber takes cholesterol out of your system. So we need to be increasing the fiber in our diets at every meal. So that's that one. We're on to the next one. Now this one we eat often for Sabbath afternoon lunch. It's a baked potato with sesame onions. And for that you'll need 2 to 4 large baking potatoes, or the amount for whomever you're cooking for. 3 tablespoons olive oil, 2 large onions cut into thin strips, and 1 to 2 tablespoons sesame seeds, and liquid aminos or salt to taste.
Now this is something I could eat every day. I love potatoes.
This is a nice something that you can use for that 20% cooked, or on Sabbath afternoon when you get home and you want something quick. This is what we do. I set my oven on the pre-cook, you know, so that we've got baked potatoes that come out. And I'm just going to let you fix this up. I actually just did enough onions to do this one potato for you. And this is really depends on how many people you have that you're cooking for. It's just olive oil and onion till they brown. And then you're going to sprinkle a little bit of sesame seeds over that. And you could use a little bit of sesame oil if you wanted to. We'll just heat that up. Now we're going to prepare our potato. I squirt liquid aminos on here to give it the salt, and also it gives it some of the moisture instead of butter, because you know potatoes seem so saltless. And this has all of the amino acids in it. This is a new margarine that I found called Smart Balance Light. That's not hydrogenated. There's no GMO foods in it. It tastes like real butter, looks like butter, and so you can use this as a margarine if you want to on your potato. Okay? And then what we do is we just take our onion. Bill just loves this. He could eat this about every day. And those of you that hate onions, well, you know, you might not like this one. You won't be making this one for Danny, but you could do this simply. And this is a Tofutti Sour Supreme Sour Cream. So if you want a little sour cream on the top of your, and by itself it doesn't taste just like sour cream, but when it's on something like homemade tacos or a potato, it tastes very similar to sour cream. So that's it for this one.
Oh, that looks like a winner. I'm going to try this one.
Let's go on to our next recipe.
That sounds good.
We're going to be doing some minute meat chick patties.
Okay.
Let's read those ingredients for you now. You will need 1 5.4 ounce package of chick minute meat, a 3/4 cup water, 5 cups boiling water, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 5 tablespoons olive oil divided, and 1 large onion cut into 1-inch strips. Now, Linda, this is one of our favorite recipes at home, especially for Sabbath because it is so fast and easy for me to make. Literally, all you need to do is get 5 cups of water boiling with 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we're going to have that boil. We're going to mix up our minute meat. This is a gluten product. It is the first gluten product that anyone has ever seen me promote on a program, because gluten products generally don't do well with me. It's hard on your intestinal tract, but I have no problems with this. And so that is why I am promoting the Minute Meat and the Minute Beef and the things that Nutri-Line Food does, because really they are wonderful products that I think are very healthy for you and fast. I was so amazed when I made this, as we're going to do right now. All you do is mix this with water. I'll let you stir this up with a spoon. Okay. This is just 1 cup of powder. It has special seasonings, and this is a Nutri-Line Food product. They're on the web, so you can contact them also at 3ABN's resource sheet, and you can find out if they don't carry it at your health food store how you can get it. But you want to mix this up very quickly into a dough, and then we're just gonna.
I have to say that out of all the meat substitutes, you know, that there are, this is my favorite.
This one you like the best?
This is it.
Now we're going to turn this out and knead it quickly. Get this mixed in right away. I just like it that I can come and just mix water into powder, and then that's it. Now I just form this into a log. It doesn't have to be perfect. And cut it. And these little things that I'm going to cut off here that are about half an inch thick, I'm going to cut these. If you'll drop them into the water, I don't know if you'll be reaching across me too much. You just toss them in there. Actually, you know what? Pull them out just a little bit with your hands. I just stretch them. Give them a little bit of a stretch.
And actually, the 1 cup of powder is very deceiving because it expands.
It
and
poops up.
This will feed quite a lot of people. Actually, this is something I made on Thanksgiving.
Is it?
People really liked it.
I love this. Bill loves this. Nathan loves this. And what I do is make up these patties, and they need to boil for between 10 and 15 minutes. I boil mine 15. And I'll show you what we've got. We're going to cover these up and let them boil. We have a finished plate, so you can see how much bigger these patties have gotten. Now, all you do from this point is prepare them however you want. And what we do is take a little olive oil in a pan and saute them so that they're crisping on each side, and then I put them over a bed of onions. So, lay these in and get them started. See if I can. And those will crisp up in just a few minutes and brown on each side. Now, you don't want to overcook these, Linda, or you actually will cook too much of the moisture out of the center of the patty, and then it gets a little bit too tough inside. But if you don't have Minute Meat at your store, you can, I have not tried it, get something called dough pep and put your own seasonings in and mix that up and make your own homemade gluten from that. So it's also an excellent thing to do. Now, our next recipe that we're going to be showing you is simple soybeans, and this goes right along with my patties. I serve 1 16-ounce bag of edamame soybeans, the shelled version, 6 cups of water, 1/2 teaspoon salt, and 1 tablespoon Smart Balance light margarine. Now, really, this is my new favorite vegetable, Linda. We've gone ahead and put the soybeans, the green soybeans, into the boiling water. It has a light, kind of a lima bean flavor, but they are delicious. So we've boiled these for a few minutes in our salted water. I'm just going to have you drain them, and then we'll put our margarine on. Now, we've gone ahead and put our chick patties over here on the bed of onions, and this really is a very simple meal. And along with this, I serve a nice salad and maybe some red or green grapes for at the close, just so you can have a little bit of that sweet taste. So, okay, let's put our, if you have never had a green soybean, you're in for a treat. Look for this at your health food store. That is not the right tool for that job. And
they are delicious, and they're so good for you.
high in protein. 1 cup has like, I read it, I can't remember now,
But
8 grams of protein, or, I mean, it's a lot. Go ahead and start. They smell so good. And this really is simple, simple, simple lunch to put together, or a dinner meal. So, very good. Now we're off to our next recipe, and we're going to be making for you Russian steak. And those ingredients are, for the steaks, you're going to need 1 package of minute meat beef, 2/3 a cup of water, 2 tablespoons tahini, 1 1/2 tablespoon olive oil. And for the sauce, you'll need 2 tablespoons olive oil, 1 cup onions chopped, 2 cups portobello mushrooms diced small, 1/4 cup Vegenaise, 1/4 cup Silk soy milk, the original flavor, 1 small can Campbell's tomato soup, 1/2 cup Tofutti Sour Supreme, which is their better than sour cream, and 1/4 teaspoon salt. Now, Linda, before we get into our steaks, our red lentil soup is finished. So would you like to show them what that looks like?
yes. Now this is something that you can feed your family and with peace in your heart, knowing that it's going to actually feed them and be good for them and prevent them from getting disease. And you can't feel that way with a hamburger and French fries.
Right. It may taste good, but it has a bite to it.
That's right.
Okay, now on our steaks, Linda, this is an old family recipe. This is from my childhood, and it was actually made with real steak and fried, and this is my version of my mom's recipe. So we're going to start with the sauce first because this needs a saute, and then I'm going to have you actually make the steaks up for us. We're going to start by heating 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 cup of onions. Whoa! That was a little messy too. And 2 cups of portobello mushrooms. And we're just going to saute this till it gets soft. And I'll let these saute. And now Linda's going to mix up the actual steak part for you. And again,
we're using the minute meat, and this is with the Nutri-Line Foods.
This is their beef flavor. And that's 1 package or 1 cup and 2/3 cup water, and you want to stir quickly and form that into a ball. And as soon as you get all the powder mixed in, then knead that with your hands. And just press that with your knuckles real good a couple times. Get back to the sandbox. Okay. Good. Now you're just going to pat this into a rectangle, and you don't want to get it too thin. That looks good. Very good. That's perfect.
Okay.
Now you're going to take your, let's see, we have tahini, 2 tablespoons of tahini, and 1 1/2 tablespoons of olive oil right there. Just put the olive oil into the tahini, and let me give you a little whisk. This is so cute.
I've got one of these at home, too.
For the right job.
Okay, what do we do with this?
Okay, now pour half of this onto this side of the Russian steak.
Half of it?
Half of it. Just, eye it. Half of your sauce. And then you're just going to rub that in with your fingers.
Okay.
Just rub it all over. Don't be afraid to get messy. And then you want to dimple it into the steaks. Very good. So you're kind of getting it like that. You want to get it worked into that. Okay, and then you can flip it over and do the rest with your remaining sauce.
I have to say, this is a very unique recipe. I don't ever remember making anything like this. Okay.
Oh, I try to, keep you entertained.
Yes.
Give you something new. Actually, the Bill's Best people have this fantastic new recipe that I can hardly wait for them to share with you guys. It's a wonderful, awesome barbecued spare rib recipe. So when they come next time, you'll get to see that. I wanted to show it, but I'm not. I'm going to let them give that to you. Now, you just want to cut this into strips, Linda, about, let's see what happened to our knife. I guess we can pull out a new one here. See if this one will work. I don't know. Cut Let me give you one. You just want about 1/2-inch slices, okay? And then you're going to put that right onto a sheet, a cookie sheet, and then bake that in the oven at 425 degrees on the next to lowest rack in your oven for 15 minutes. And you're not going to flip them over, just take them out, and then we actually have the finished beef for you that you can show. That looks good, Linda. I'm not going to have you cut all that.
Okay.
Let me give you, here, you can wipe your fingers. And we have our finished steaks over there. You can show them what they look like, and I'll let you cut them because we're going to need them cut for the sauce. But I'm going to finish up the sauce now. We need 1/4 cup of Vegenaise, which is a vegan mayonnaise that is out of this world as far as taste goes. And we also have 1/4 cup of Silk soy milk. This is the original flavor. Ow, 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 ow. Burning myself today.
Hey, you're smoking today, Barb.
I'll tell you, I've spilled things. I actually got something on my cuff. This must be an off day for me. You know, I hate wearing aprons. I might have to resort to that.
Okay, so how big should I cut
I
these?
just want these maybe just in half, because you want kind of 2 to 3-inch pieces. 1 can of tomatoes Campbell's soup. This does not have any dairy in it. This recipe used to be very simple at home. It was 1 can of tomato, 1 can of cream of mushroom, and the cream of mushroom has cream and milk products in it. And then sour cream, and I'm using the Tofutti Sour Supreme. That's 1/2 cup of Sour Supreme and 1/4 teaspoon of salt to make this sauce. And this is kind of like a, smells like Thousand Island dressing is what it smells like. It tastes like stroganoff, sort of. A little twist. But see, we've made our own mushroom gravy from scratch, and that's what takes a little extra time. But this recipe is worth it. And now you can just stir in the steaks and then just let them simmer to blend the flavors. And then you have one of my old childhood favorite recipes. And this is delicious. Now the next recipe and the last recipe that we're going to do for you is called muckets. This again is from my childhood. And we're going to put those ingredients up for you now. Linda, would you like to tackle this one?
Yes, you will need 3/4 cup of onion chopped small, 1/2 cup of the Tofutti Better Than Cream Cheese, French onion or plain flavor, 1/2 cup plus 1/8 of a cup homemade flax egg replacer. For the mushroom gravy, you will need 4 tablespoons of olive oil divided, 1 cup of onion chopped, 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of portobello mushrooms diced small. Also 3/8 of a cup whole wheat pastry flour and 3½ cups of the Silk soy milk original. Then for the flax egg replacer, you will need 1/2 cup flaxseed meal and 1 cup water.
Now this recipe, Linda, is one from my childhood again, and I'll tell you a little bit about it as you mix up since we're getting short on time.
Okay.
We're going to start with the patties, and you're going to need 3/4 cup of onion, so you can just put that in there. And this won't all go into your patties, but most of it will. 1/2 cup of the Tofutti Better Than Cream Cheese, which you've already put in there. And this is a new flavor, French onion, which is delicious. You need 1/4 cup of water, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and then this homemade flax meal egg replacer. Now I have practiced this and so that I could get it consistent to tell you what to do. You need to take exactly 1 cup of water with 1/2 cup of flaxseed meal and boil it in a small saucepan, maybe a 1-quart saucepan for 5 minutes. And then you need to remove it from the heat and let it sit for 10 minutes. And then you will have this very thick paste. If yours is still too thin, you need to let it sit longer so that it will be this consistency. So now we got to mix this in first, Linda, before you put the cracker crumbs in there. And it will kind of mix up with the onion.
has a spongy consistency.
It has that, you know, it gives it the original recipe called for 5 eggs and real cream cheese and onions. And I'm going to move this away from you so I don't splatter. Okay. All right, now I think we can put our cracker crumbs in. Or actually, these are saltines that are wheat teens made by Barbara. Good name. Oops. I'm sorry, Linda. Please forgive me. I'll let you finish
You
now that I'm
sometimes we just have these days when we're messy. That's all.
yeah, but you're killing me.
So basically, this is the muckets.
This is the mucket, and this is something that my great-grandfather named because my mother made this patty, and she told him it was a cream cheese patty. He said, well, it tastes like muckets to me. He's an old German, so whatever a mucket is, you're just going to take this in a 1/4 cup, okay, and then pat it into your hand to shape it into patties like this, and then just drop it into a few tablespoons of oil, fry it up, and then you will actually have patties like this. Now we've gone ahead and made the gravy ahead, which you'll have the recipe for if you write for the recipes. You just put the patties into the gravy once they're finished, let them simmer for a few seconds, and you're done.
Very quickly, we're going to put up Barbara's address. If you would like to contact her and write to her about her cookbook available, you can write to Taste of Health Ministries, P.O. Box 38, Gaston, South Carolina 29053. The number is 803-936-1714. And once again, until next time, may the Lord richly bless you abundantly more than you could ever ask or think.
Thank you for being our family. Thank you for being our friends. May God bless